Hi, so I'm Divya Reddy, and I have started my work commercially. When I say commercially, I'm meaning to say as a full-fledged designer for the past 3.5 years now. And last year, Latin Fashion Week has happened. So, but before that, I was a student. I finished my fashion graduation from Illinois Institute of Art and New York Fashion Institute, both. And I was interning with Christian Dior. I was the only Indian back then who got an internship there. So I was interning with them, and then I started my own label when I came back to India. Um, so yeah, because I've done my fashion designing and that's what I majored in. I did not do anything about it for very long years when I came back because I completely studied Western fashion. And here now what I do is completely bridal. So it was a big change, it is a totally different subject altogether. But then, they say, right, when you're in Rome, be a Roman. So the best I could offer in India is obviously, the bridal Indian wear. Of course, the knowledge does help you a lot because the technicalities are the same anyways. So even though it was a very, very, it's a very strong decision that I had to take for me from moving complete Western to complete Indian. But like you can see today, I am where I am because of probably that decision that I made. And my market here and people who have been working with are extremely supportive, and if not for them, I wouldn't have been here. Alright, so I am a single mother and I have a 2.5-year-old son. He's my biggest strength, my biggest weakness, and my biggest support system. And only and only because of the strength that I gained from him, I've actually decided to do something about my life. And here I am today doing something about my life, I would say. And I work a lot with the handlooms. And my introduction to handlooms came obviously from my mother, who's a very active part of Crafts Council. She encourages a lot of weavers. She's been a social worker for a very long time. She usually tries and exposes the weavers to the market, in the new city, so that, today we do not have access to those people who are living in some corner of the village and weaving such beautiful stuff, but how are they going to be marketed? So there comes my mother in the picture, and she has been, trying to give her own designs and pick up from all these weavers, and then, she's selling it here for the same price, and the weavers are actually having a livelihood. And today that is exactly the module I work with. All my garments, when you run through, you can see that I use only and only handlooms, and I do not use any synthetics at all. So 85% I would say of my work that I do are based out of handlooms. So we support a lot of, right now today as we speak, we have about 300 weavers working for my label. So it is a great satisfaction to know 300 families are living off what we do. That is the only motivation for me to do this. My inspiration is my clientele. So what people usually like, out of my entire collection is what I take as an inspiration to make the next collection in that sort of work. So every season I am evolving as a designer, and I am being liked by more and more people. Is definitely one reason being the designs, but the second reason is definitely because we are giving them what they want. So out of a collection of 50 pieces, if 10 are a hit, we do more of the 10, or we take this 10 as an inspiration for our next collection. So out of 50, next time people are going to like 40 at least. So those 40 we take as an inspiration, so next time people are going to like all the 50. So the reason we are growing the way we are right now is definitely because of the quality of the work we give, and of course because we give the clients what they want. So my inspiration has always been the to-be brides, and when they come, they tell me with a lot of excitement what they're looking at. So I know exactly what a client wants. So that is actually my inspiration. A very good question, quite honestly, because I have come from a completely different background. I have come from a business marketing and a finance background, so I have nothing to do with fashion. But when I went to US to do my MBA, and the educational system over there, the course that was offering fashion as an institute was very, very, very attractive. So for me also, I've moved from a complete different background into fashion. So I would like to say only one thing. See, fashion or creating something is an art. If you have it in you, all the fashion industry, like the fashion background or the education and all is only and only going to take you from step 0 to step 10. That's it. From 10 to 100 is completely about your creativity. Today what I do is nothing, it has nothing to do with what I studied, because I studied complete Western fashion, which is another world altogether. But it's only your eye for taste, and if you have it in you, irrespective of what it is, get into it, because I know that is the one that is going to push you. Any artist is born an artist. This is not something I can teach, this is not something any industry or any school can teach. I can only guide you. Even I can only guide. I have so many interns who come work with me. I can only guide them. But their thinking, their creativity is something that is inborn. That is not something I teach anybody who come here. I can only teach them or the business part of it or the technicality part of it. Because even I still learn the technicality part of it from my master or from my tailors or from my karigars, because they are so much more experienced than I am. And they tell me, because when I come up with an idea, I go and tell my master, or this is what I want, this is the sketch. He tells me whether it's technically possible or not. Fine, in my vision, in my dream, I can think of a beautiful garment to look in a certain way. But is it technically even possible is something that they give me a education. So I would like to say that creativity, art is something is inborn, and when you have it, go for it. You will learn, you will evolve, you will get better, definitely. My process is very, very unprofessional, quite honestly. It is not anything like how other designer or other designer who's doing extremely on a great platforms or work. Mood boards and all, I literally work in a reverse process. Like I said, my inspiration is the client. From the client, then one fine day I wake up from my sleep and I get some design in my mind. I just sketch it. I always sleep with a pen and a paper next to me, always. I don't know why, I always think better at night, and I always think better under pressure. So if I know I have a Lakme Fashion Week coming up, or so like a BMW in your bridal fashion week coming up, in the stress, I tend to, get more ideas. So my process goes when I just select my color palette. That's all. If it's spring, summer, we do a lighter palette. If it's a fall, winter, we do a little darker palette. But majorly, it's all a pastel palette that I usually do. So for me, once the palette is decided, I know at least those 1-2 pieces that I get in my thought, we just start with that manufacturing. Once that is done, when I know it's turning out the way it should be, we do a lot of changes. I always sit with my karigars 24/7, literally throughout our working hours. And I sit with them, and every time they're doing, sometimes what happens, majority of the time, I imagine something, but it doesn't look like the way I imagined. So a lot of times, I give it almost about a month's time only and only for back and forth of the design. So we do something that doesn't look nice, I scrap the idea, then again I do, then I scrap the idea, again I do, scrap that. So until we are satisfied, okay, I am satisfied even as a person that, okay, this was going to look great on the person. We do this process. Once that is done, then I procure the entire material, because I have weavers, right? I give them the color palette and I ask them to start manufacturing, irrespective. So because that manufacturing takes about 2 months. So once the material is in my hand, then I start the entire collection together. Then we come up with all the patterns and all the cuts, and which fashion week we are doing, depending on that also. If it's a certain fashion week, then we do certain kind of stuff. It's certain fashion week, then we cut a certain kind of stuff. So we try and see which show we are presenting it, or which season we are presenting. So, and then once the fabric is done, then it goes for marking. Then the marking is done, then it goes on to the frames where the embroidery is done, then to the stitching, then to the quality check department, and then finally it goes on the rack, and then the photo shoots, and then the shows, and then the stores. So yeah, it is not as easy or as fancy as usually people think. It's also the glam world. It's so fun. Believe me, it is very, very strenuous. It is fun. I would love to do what I'm doing right now, but it is very strenuous. No, you're absolutely right. See, what we do on the ramp is a very runway collection. Those are not usually wearable. So, there are not usually commercial designs. what we do is once they're off the ramp, okay, there are, see, now the film actresses, the Bollywood stars we work with, they all can wear, like they all wear very extremely stylish, extremely chic runway sort of stuff. But when it comes to practicality, there are a lot of issues wearing such stuff, even including the fitting and including the way the outfit falls on. It's very different. But what we usually do is we commercialize the same line. So maybe the necks go a little higher, or the lehengas go a little, they fall a little differently, or the extra excess fabric is not there. So we make it more commercial by making it a lehenga instead of that very ball gown where on the ramp we make very exaggerated pieces. So in real life, we obviously it's not very practically usable. So what we do is we commercialize the same line. So it's because obviously you can't expect something very different from what we do on the ramp, because that is what people want to wear. When they see a Bollywood star wearing, you want to wear that, right? But the same outfit, we customize it to them. So that's how we commercialize the line. But the line is similar. It's going to be similar. It's not exactly the same, but it is a similar line. Firstly, I would like to say Shilpa Shetty is an extremely adorable and supportive human being as such, because I was a debutante. That was my first time at Lakme Fashion Week when I worked with her, and there is no reason why she should agree to work for me, but she did. For being the style diva and the big star that she is, it is very uncommon that someone at that level trying to support someone who is a debutante. It was my first time. And until she worked for me, she's never worked for any debutante. She never worked for a jabong stage, which was a small stage at that point in time. And even though I did experience a lot of her people telling her, that this is not something what you usually do, but her answer was amazing. She just said, I am doing not because she's a label. I am doing because I like her stuff. I like her as a person. I like her stuff. I want to be an encouraging member of this whole thing, and that is why I want to do. So she didn't really care about whether I'm a big brand, or whether it's a big stage, or whether it's a prime time show. She did not bother. She said, I am doing it for you, Divya, and it's my word, you can go ahead. And the same applies to Sohali Khan. And she walked for me as a for the curtain raiser. She said the same thing. She said, I'm doing it because of the faith that you have in me, and because of the fact that you want someone who is from a certain background. So she said, I'm doing it for you because I love your outfit. So it is really great and amazing as a part of these people, being so successful that they are encouraging new talent. So I have learned a lot from her, and I do that with my life right now. The girl who assists me, or the interns that I have, are all people who have absolutely zero experience. The girl who works for me right now is not even from a fashion background, but she's learned so much and she delivers extraordinary work. So for me, it is about believing in someone who has that passion, and believing in someone who has that vigor to work and to deliver the best. And that is something that Shilpa has taught me. So to me, the biggest professional success is the increasing number of brides that we dress every day, and the number of I would like to say, the increasing number of staff and the weavers that we support every single month, because I know for the fact that they go back home with a smile on their face when they get their salaries, that they can support their families, educate their children. So every day when I know that the number of people that are employed with the brand Divya Reddy, I would like to call it a brand today, because it's not just me. It is because of those hundreds of people who are working along with me who has made me who I am, and I can't sit here and take the complete credit, because they are the ones who ultimately create the magic of a beautiful garment. I'm just a person who can imagine it to look like that, but quite honestly, to make it happen is my entire team that I'm going to introduce you guys to in a little while. But these guys have been working day in, day out. They have such great passion and dedication. So that is what I think is my greatest professional success, that so many people believe in us today, so many more new brides come to us with great expectations, and we deliver that kind of stuff, and the smiles that they have on their faces is, I think, to me, the biggest achievement in it. The design element, see, I have raised to this professionally because of the beadwork that I do. I am known for that. So if you see the intricacy of my work, of course it is handwork, but then beads are my signature style. So any garment that you see with like a lot of beadwork, then they know it is my design. So my embellishments are primarily based out of beads. So the rest all I keep changing, but beads is something which is standard with my embroidery. That is my signature style. So in Hyderabad as a city as such, we do not have very extreme weather conditions for us to, work on according to the weather. Because even though it's fall, winter, when you go to fashion in Delhi, they all use velvets or woolen sort of fabrics because people need to be warm because it's really that cold. But since we are blessed to have a very, uniform and a very not very extreme weather conditions, we here can use any sort of fabrics or any sort of cuts. Every designer in Hyderabad is now evolving so much that on the fashion background, they are very, very large on a fashion platform. Even in Bombay, Delhi, Hyderabad designers today are very big and they're very welcomed and they're loved. So I would say here the trends are not, since they're not according to the season, I think anything that is upcoming and new, because here we have, I'm into bridal, so we have a lot of bridal designers also, and every designer has their own signature style. So in Hyderabad as such, I cannot pinpoint saying, this is something, this is trending this season. There's nothing like that. I think every designer comes up with a new collection, and every designer's new collection is trending in Hyderabad. Because Hyderabad market is pretty encouraging and pretty accepting of new sort of work and new sort of designers. So I think that is what is trending. Every designer who comes up with a new style is trending in Hyderabad. Quite honestly, I think like every step in fashion is like that. There's not one particular tip I can give or one particular incident. Like I said, clients teach you much more than what you can even imagine. So every single time we know for the fact that a client is happy about something, that is my learning experience. That is where I learn from. So there is nothing like, I wish I knew this earlier, because even 10 years down the lane, I'm sure some new client will teach me something new. So for me, I don't think there was anything like, I wish I knew this earlier. Yes, I wish I started my career earlier, and I wish I fell in love with handlooms the way I am right now earlier, because then I would have given the world, whatever we are doing right now much earlier, and we could have given, whatever help we are trying to help all these weavers, a life that we are giving them now much earlier. I would have probably saved on that time. But as a tip, I don't think any designer needs any tip from an existing designer, because no designer has taught me to do what I do right now, right? It's the people. It's the people you work with, it's the people you work for. They are the ones who teach you. So I think every designer is going to evolve. I'm sure even I will. 10 years down the lane, you come and ask me, I will have something new to talk about. Like I said, I have a very, very extremely matured and understanding child, so there is not much that I would have to actually quite honestly balance. But yes, nowadays my work has become so hectic that I'm hardly getting time for even myself to even eat and sleep. It's like 4-5 p.m. and I haven't had my lunch till now, so it is getting very strenuous. But the only way I try and balance is, I tell myself, because my biggest stress buster is my child Arun, so I tell myself that at least a couple of days and definitely Sunday, I make sure that I take a holiday. When I say a holiday, not completely from work, which I cannot, because we are working throughout the year now, but I definitely give myself a couple of hours that I spend with him or take him out, and we both chill together. Then I listen to him quite a lot because he's now speaking very much, and so these are the things that I try and do every single day. And whenever I have my his parent teacher meetings at schools, and I completely attend every single one of them, because for me that is the biggest balance, being there for my family and spending time with my family to me means the biggest stress buster, and to me it's the biggest I'm very charged up for a Monday morning when I spend the entire Sunday with Arun. So I know I'm ready, quick and up and running for a Monday morning. Otherwise I'll be very dull. Otherwise, I'll be extremely dull. So I think this is the only way, even though I work for almost, without exaggerating, I work for 15 hours a day now. So at least 2 to 3 hours a day, I do nothing but spend with my son or watch news. I don't watch movies, unfortunately, especially for the profession that I am in. It is very embarrassing to say this, but I don't watch movies at all. Even though I have so many friends from the industry, it is very embarrassing that I don't watch too many movies because I am a very news person. So I definitely watch 2 hours of news every single day of my life. So these are the things that I do. I hardly step out, so I don't have a very social life currently. Because work is not permitting, and whatever little time I have, I love to spend with my son. So yeah, I think I'm totally balancing. At least according to me, I am. A Divya Reddy bride is different from the other brides is only with the smile and the sense of satisfaction she has in her eyes when she walks out wearing my outfit, because that is exactly what my inspiration is from, and that is exactly what we here at the Divya Reddy headquarters do. We are only and only worried and concentrating on how our bride walks out of our workshop. It's not about the money they pay me, it's not about the advances, and it's not about what bucks we make here. It's only and only about how wide is her smile. And when it's very amazing and encouraging, when they send me pictures after their whole event, and the number of compliments and the way they get complimented, they always give me a feedback. And to me, a bride coming back with a positive feedback, I think, is what we work, and that is exactly what I feel is different, and we try to work only and only on that, nothing but that. So thank you so much everyone for watching this space. This is a new blog. It's called Fashion View, and it's totally trending, and it is very nice. The team that is operating this blog is extremely young and very passionate about what they're doing. So please keep watching this space, and my style tip or my tip to all the budding designers, I would say go for it. You don't need any tip. Quite honestly, I have no advices to anyone. Do what comes in your heart and mind, because creativity is not something that anybody can teach you. It is you. You're born with the talent. Go ahead and do it. That's what I do. Believe in yourself. That's it. And thank you so much once again for watching this. Watch this more, because there's a lot more coming your way. Thank you. This is Divya Reddy signing off. Bye-bye.